Lesson 5 is our lesson on the request fulfillment process, and it has 3 short objectives. First, we'll learn the high-level objectives and scope of this process. Next, we'll reinforce the difference between an incident and a service request. And we'll wrap up with a list of the roles who take part in request fulfillment. Request fulfillment has a few objectives. First, to provide a way or an on-ramp for users to request and receive standard services for which a predefined approval process exists. Also, to provide information to users and customers about the availability of services and the procedure for obtaining them. Like if a user wants to know if there's a color printer in the building they can use, and if so, how they go about getting access to it. Another objective is to source and deliver the components of requested standard services, which means that the team doing the fulfilling will be responsible for finding the components and installing them. So if a user calls up asking for Microsoft Excel, it's up to the service desk or a desktop tech to locate the installation file and get it loaded onto that user's PC. Also, to assist with general information, complaints, or comments. Or simply stated, request fulfillment's objective is to deal with or handle different types of requests and standard changes that are asked of IT. Now, as for the scope of this process, it's up to your organization to figure out which requests will be handled by this request fulfillment process and which requests need to go through the full-blown change management process with the CAB approval and all that. As we learned in the incident management lesson, a service request is when a user needs something from IT, but nothing is broken. If a user needs a BlackBerry, or if they need to know where a PO form is located, or if they need to get equipment set up for a new employee or move to a different cube, all of these things are examples of service requests. If someone needs a BlackBerry or a PC moved, think about it. Those are actually changes to the infrastructure, and those would ultimately need to be tracked in the CMDB. But since they're low cost and low risk and repeatable, and are also probably considered standard changes, we can handle this through this teeny request fulfillment process instead of bogging down the change management process with this little stuff. At the bottom of the slide, we introduce the term request models. Just like incident models and change models, a request model is a predefined way to handle something that commonly occurs, so you don't have to figure it out from scratch every time. On the exam, keep your eyes peeled for the word predefined. It's a dead giveaway that they're talking about models. The folks responsible for doing a request fulfillment are the same folks who do incident management. The service desk takes the initial call, whether that's via the phone or via an intranet form or an email or what have you. Where it goes from there depends on the type of request. It might be fulfilled by someone in technical management, applications management, IT operations management, or even a third-party supplier, like if someone needs a new BlackBerry. But as always, the service desk is the initial contact. And just like incidents, the service desk maintains administrative control over the request from start to finish, even if the service desk isn't the group that's fulfilling the request. And this slide concludes our short lesson on request fulfillment. Let's move on to lesson 6, which introduces problem management.